Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Kurt from Dungeon Video, and welcome to my 1950s versus 1960s series in reviews of my 31 Days of Horror. Yes, in my previous review, we reviewed from 1959, The Hound of the Baskervilles, and today we have from 1968, The Devil Rides Out. Terence Fisher at the helm again, and we have a colossus of a Hammer movie. Yes, this one I had sitting on the shelf for a while, and I thought it would be really cheesy, very cheesy. But let me tell you, the cheese is broken up with some really great acting and some really superb dialogue and even set designs, characters. Everything in this movie is absolutely excellent. Yes, so let's just get into The Devil Rides Out because I love this movie and I want to talk a little bit more about it. So, the Donneur Duc de Recreux, I can't even pronounce that right, yes, has been trusted with the care of his deceased friend's son, Simon Aaron. The Duke discovers that the young man has been seduced into joining a satanic cult headed by the diabolical Makata, who is intent on making Simon one of the devil's disciples. Having rescued Simon from a bloody ritual, Deluc is pursued by Makata, who will stop at nothing to destroy Deluc and his friends, even summoning the Angel of Death himself. So, the movie was actually based on a book by Dennis Wheatley, The Devil Rides Out. I really want to read that book because I think this is a really good, even though I haven't read this book, I think this is a really good telling of the story and it's very compelling. So, I really want to dig into the book and find out what the book is about. I'm pretty sure it's similar to the movie. I'm not sure, but I really want to watch it. Read it. So the movie stars Christopher Lee as Dr. Rook, and he kind of plays like this very original type of Christian white witch, and he's a very commanding presence in the movie, more than anything, more than Prince of Darkness, more than any other movie I've seen him in. He plays this Donald Pleasance type of doomsayer, and he is just taking charge. As soon as you see him on the screen, he is just taking charge, and everyone listens to him. He's almost like this oligarchy, almost like a very powerful type of wise character in the movie, and he has his own mythology. So we'll get a little bit more into that. It also stars Charles Gray as a sinister Makata. So Charles Gray actually played Sternus Stavro Bloomfield in the 007 movies, or a couple of them. So right off the helm, I did like his acting, because I do love 007. And Leon Green, played by Rex Van Dyke. He was also really good in this movie, and he plays like Lee's offsider or his right-hand man. It's almost like kind of like a buddy cop type of scenario where Rex kind of follows Christopher Lee, and they take on this satanic cult. And also we have Patrick Moore, who played by Simon Aaron, who is actually taken by the cult. And we have the gorgeous Nikki Agarni, I think that's how you pronounce it, who plays Tanith Carlisle. Okay, so I feel like Hammer just went straight for the guts with this one, and they just said, "Look, screw it, we're just gonna make a balls out, really, really evil satanic movie. We're not gonna hold any punches. We're just gonna go for it, and let's just get Terence Fisher to do whatever the hell he wants. Let's make it really evil for '68." If you were sitting in the cinema and you're from that conservative type of society, I guess. Well, '60s not so conservative, but if you saw that outside of that demographic, you would think, Christ, this movie is really evil. I don't want to watch it. I think it's a little bit too confronting. But let me tell you, I loved it. I thought it was just something that was really entertaining, really evil, really didn't really hold any punches, like I mentioned. And I was absolutely blown away by The Devil Rides Out. I can go on and on about this movie. If you like car chases, if you like satanic rituals, not so much if you like if you like satanic rituals in your movies, uh, posh English manners and castles, really nice cars, and fist fights and an array of demonic entities. This movie is definitely for you. And this movie is a force to be reckoned with, I would say. You know, straight off, there's a piece of dialogue that Christopher Lee, who plays like this white witch, actually, he comes in And he keeps telling you every time that a demonic entity arrives in the movie, he keeps telling you, don't look, don't look. And you kind of, your eyes are glued to the screen. You kind of feel like, because he's so convincing in this role, you almost feel like he's playing this type of White Witch. And I was actually reading that this was probably one of his favorite roles he played. And you actually see there's this type of entity summoned, this demonic entity, and it looks really good. I mean, the smoke, and it's cheesy. It's cheesy in the point that it's very fitting for the '60s type of way of filmmaking, especially Hammer. And I love Hammer movies, and this is probably my favorite Hammer movie, I would say. And I've only watched it once, but this is going to be a staple in my collection. I'd feel like popping this in any time. Anyway, this demon kind of arises out of smoke, and him and Rex Van Dyke are actually in the room, and this demon actually arises, and Christopher Lee is screaming, "Don't look, don't look at the eyes, don't look at the eyes," and you kind of feel guilty for actually watching. You feel like, should I turn away? And that's a type of convincing type of character or actor Christopher Lee actually is. So that's The Devil Rides Out. So first off, you get Daruk and Rex Van Dyke's character. They're actually going to meet up with Simon, and Simon Aaron, Simon Aaron actually plays Patrick Moore. So Patrick Moore they're going to meet him somewhere, and they find out that he hasn't actually shown up, and they were friends of his father's, and he's actually just come into some money, I believe, and they go to his house, and they find out that he's having this type of this meeting with all these people, this type of club that he mentions to them. So Christopher Lee soon finds out that something's just a little fishy with these people, and Simon asks them to leave, and Christopher Lee's like, no, I think something's up. And that's the type of character he is. He just says, I need to get to the bottom of this, and he tells Rex Van Dyke's character that let's just do a little bit of snooping around. They do a little bit of snooping around, they go upstairs, they find a chicken in the upstairs department, and under the rug in that room they find like a pentagram, and Christopher Lee knows, especially with his Christian type of White Witch mythology, which I've never heard of, doing Christian rituals, but yeah, he said something's up, and I think it's a satanic cult, and he clicks straight away, and he confronts Simon, and they tell him that he needs to get out of this place and tell these people to leave, and Simon goes, no, I'm not having any of it, I'm already in too deep, this and this, and Christopher Lee just goes, screw it. He punches him in the face, puts him on his back, they take him away. And what kind of good friend does that? That's what I love about this movie. It's just an absolute bastion of masculinity. There's fist fights and there's car races. It's action packed, and this movie's fantastic. And Christopher Lee just steals the show. He just feels like doing what he needs to do. His character's just like, no, this is evil. And straight off the start, there is no mucking around. You get into the movie straight away. You find out what you need to know in the movie. Like, there's a satanic cult. His friend's been led into it, and that's all you need to know. And it just starts off with there's fist fights. So once they kidnap him, they find that the cult wants him back, and the movie goes from there. And also, yeah, so it kind of plays him and Rex Van Dyke actually go and take on this cult, and it's that type of that masculine type of thing. Even going back to James Bond, it's that type of one man or a couple of people taking on a evil organization or a massive organization. You could do that, and it was realistic back in those days. Screw it, you just go for it. You jump in your car, and there's this really one of my favorite scenes. It doesn't really give everything away, but there's this really cheesy, stereotypical summoning of Satan in this satanic ritual, and Christopher Lee is riding in the car with Rex Van Dyke, and it looks really badass, and they're just driving down the street, and they see, and Christopher Lee goes, it's something like Beelzebub himself, there he is, and they're holding a cross, they throw this cross at him, they jump, and he disappears, and then they jump out of the car, and they just start throwing fists at all these satanic worshippers. It's just really awesome. It's just a really fun movie. I love The Devil Rides Out. I can go on and on about it. So The Devil Rides Out, I would give an absolute... Well, before I actually rate it, yeah. So there's an awesome array of demonic entities that are actually summoned, and you can actually see that There's summoning and there's spirit cooking in the movie as well. So there's things like giant spiders are actually summoned in the movie, and the Angel of Death himself, which he just comes into the room, looks awesome. It's one of those spine-tingling type of moments that when you see him come into the screen. And Terence Fisher, this is probably Terence Fisher's greatest movie, so I would give The Devil Rides Out an absolute 8.5 out of 10. It's going to be hard to top this movie for my 31 Days of Horror, but I absolutely love The Devil Rides Out. I thought it was fantastic. It was my first time watch, and I'm not going to forget this movie. I'll probably watch it again. So that is an 8.5. If you've watched this movie, it's awesome. If you haven't, pop it on. It is absolutely fantastic. So that is The Devil Rides Out from 1968. Thanks for watching, guys. This is probably my longest review ever. Please subscribe, comment. I'm going to have some more things in the works, so thanks for watching, guys.